In the heart of rural Germany, in a devout Catholic home, lived a girl whose story would become one of the most terrifying, tragic, and debated cases in modern history. Her name was Anneliese Michel, and her descent wasn't into madness. According to some, it was into hell itself. What you're about to hear is real, documented by audio recordings, witness accounts, and an exorcism sanctioned by the Catholic Church. Was she mentally ill or truly possessed by something ancient and evil? This is not a ghost story. This is not a myth. This is the exorcism of Anneliese Michel. Welcome to Dark Whispers, where fear finds its voice. If you love to listen to paranormal investigations, creepypastas, and unsolved mysteries, do surely subscribe and hit the bell icon for more notifications. And if you love to listen to any particular story, do hit us back in the comments. And without any further ado, let's get back to our story. Anneliese Michel was born in 1952 in a deeply religious household in Bavaria, Germany. She was quiet, bright, and kind. She attended mass meetings twice a week, carried a rosary, and dreamed of becoming a teacher. But fate had other plans. At the age of 16, she suffered her first major seizure. Her body stiffened violently, and she was unable to speak. Doctors diagnosed her with temporal lobe epilepsy, a condition that can cause hallucinations and paranoia. But Anneliese knew something was different, something else. She started seeing dark figures at night, faces with hollow eyes watching her from corners of her room, whispering voices echoing inside her skull, sometimes praying, sometimes blaspheming. She heard footsteps in her bedroom when no one was there. Her body grew cold. She trembled during church service. She said she couldn't touch holy water anymore. It burned her skin. Still, her family kept faith in medicine. They tried anticonvulsants, therapy, hospitalization, but the terror only deepened. By the age of 20, Anneliese's condition had spiraled into something inhuman. She claimed demons were inside her, 6 of them, each fighting for control. Her eyes sank deep into her skull. Her voice shifted, sometimes shrill, sometimes impossibly low. She stopped sleeping. She chewed through walls. She screamed until her throat bled. She refused to eat, claiming that the spirits inside her wouldn't allow it. She began to beat herself. She tore off her clothes. She knelt and stood in rapid succession over 600 times in a single day, until her knees shattered. She barked like a dog, growled like a beast, begged God to let her die. Her parents were beyond desperate. They believed this was no longer a medical issue, but a spiritual invasion. They reached out to the Catholic Church begging for help. At first, the church denied their request, but after hearing recordings of her voice, even seasoned priests began to fear something otherworldly was happening. By September 1975, after nearly 5 years of failed medications, seizures, hallucinations, and terrifying spiritual episodes, the Michel family could no longer bear it. They were devout Catholics, and they truly believed that Anneliese was no longer just sick, she was possessed. They begged the church, plead after plead, and finally, 2 priests, Father Arnold Renz and Father Ernst Alt, were granted rare approval to perform the ritual Romanum, the ancient Roman rite of exorcism. This wasn't a casual prayer session. This was war. The exorcisms began in complete secrecy in the Michel's family farmhouse in Klingenberg, Bavaria. It was there in a cold, candle-lit room that the first battle began. The moment the rite started, Anneliese changed. She convulsed, she screamed, she thrashed violently, three grown men unable to hold her down. She barked like an animal, snarled, and shrieked curses language she never learned. Latin, Hebrew, even what some believed to be Aramaic. Her voice shifted in pitch and tone, sometimes childlike, other deep and inhuman. Witnesses said it was like listening to 6 different people inside one body. She didn't just name the spirits inside her, she became them. There was Lucifer, claiming dominion over the rest, Cain, the first murderer, Judas Iscariot, dripping with betrayal, and even Adolf Hitler, his voice cold, commanding, proud of his cruelty. And among them, a lesser-known entity, Father Fleischmann, a disgraced priest from the 1500s who had never once been mentioned to Anneliese or her family. Research later proved that Fleischmann was real. These were the spirits that were taking control of Anneliese's body. Despite being frail and starving, she would suddenly overpower those around her. She once tossed a Bible across the room and screamed, "This book burns, take it away." But even in moments of peace, she refused to eat. She believed that demons wouldn't allow it. She begged for Holy Communion, but often spat it out in violent rage. And she still told the priests and the family, "The suffering is my choice. I want to do this for the sins of others. I am offering my pain."
Wann bist du überhaupt hier?
Ich verspreche das so, dass ich in dem Weib drin bin. Ich trag dir die Rotznase noch so lang, bis es lebt wird. So blöde Weib. Für uns geht's kein zurück. Sie in alle Ewigkeit.
Sag mir den Namen.
Ich, der Judas und der Nero, der Kain und der Hitler. 5 Zimmer.
Das ist der 6.
Oh, den haben wir gelogen.
Den habt ihr dazu.
As the exorcisms continued through autumn into winter, Anneliese's condition worsened dramatically. Her face was bruised and gaunt. Her hands were cracked and bleeding. Her voice, a constant rasp now, only screamed when provoked. She began to describe vivid, horrifying visions. A burning field of twisted corpses, children with hollow eyes, a massive black figure always watching her from the ceiling. She said she had been to hell. It's real. It's filled with screams. The fire burns your soul, not your flesh. It never ends. She began refusing water. She stopped bathing. She tore clothes off and slept on the stone floor, believing it was part of her penance. Then came the mimicry. She began speaking in the voices of her family members, her priest, even Jesus Christ. It was a mockery, a grotesque impersonation that chilled everyone in the room. During one session, she growled, "She's mine. Your prayers are filth." The Virgin weeps, but no one hears her. Her knees were shattered from endless forced genuflections. She would kneel and rise over 600 times in a single day until her leg bled. But perhaps the most disturbing moment came during the 45th exorcism. She stopped screaming. She stopped resisting, and she whispered, "They're inside me. I can feel their breath. They're pulling my soul apart." The room grew cold, a crucifix cracked. The candle flames twisted sideways without wind. Father Alt later confessed, "There were moments I feared not for her, but for all of us, that what we were fighting could not be defeated." By late June of 1976, Anneliese was skeletal, her face solemn, her skin stretched tight. Her body was giving out. But the exorcism continued. On June 30th, the 67th session took place. Anneliese was too weak to speak loudly. Her voice, hoarse and raspy, barely a whisper. But she managed to say, "Mother, stay with me. I'm scared." She looked to Father Renz and whispered, "Please, beg for my absolution." That night, she reportedly saw a vision of the Virgin Mary, who offered to release her. But Anneliese declined. She chose to suffer for others. Just hours later, on the morning of July 1st, 1976, Anneliese Michel was found dead in her bed. Her body was cold, her hands clasped in a silent prayer. She died of malnutrition and dehydration. After 10 months of torment, weighing just 68 pounds. Her final words? "Mother, I'm afraid." The tapes of the exorcism, still available online, capture more than a girl screaming. They capture a battle between light and darkness. Anneliese's parents, along with fathers Renz and Alt, were put on trial, charged with negligent homicide. The court didn't believe in demons. The doctors called it schizophrenia. The church? Silent. But to many around the world, Anneliese Michel was no lunatic. She was a martyr, a vessel of suffering, a young woman who may have truly faced something inhuman. To this day, skeptics say Anneliese was simply sick, suffering from epilepsy, psychosis, or schizophrenia. But those who saw her, they believe otherwise. The audio remains, her voice, unnatural and unbroken, echoes still. And sometimes late at night, listeners report hearing things behind her voice in the recordings, things that whisper back. Sleep well tonight, if you can, if you've heard the audio recordings. Maybe you'll not be alone.